This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, so irrespective of the number of the people, let's get started, guys. And if the crowd is continue to be less, we will cancel the sessions from tomorrow, but we'll continue for today. Okay, and depending on the crowd, we will continue for tomorrow. Okay, so let me share the screen. Are you able to see the screen?
No, sir.
Not yet,
Not
sir.
yet, right? Not yet, not yet, not yet. So let me share the screen with you. What happened? Okay, there you go. So let me share the screen with you. Okay. Okay. So now you're able to see my screen. Somebody?
It's loading actually.
It's loading. Okay. Others, you're you able to see the screen?
Yeah, we got your screen.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah, we are
Wonderful.
able to.
Superb. Superb, Dinesh. Okay. So the last class where we have stopped, guys, is can we create the report? Okay, can we create the report? Okay, this will be disturbing us, so let me delete that. So can we create a report in a Word or a PDF? Okay, did anybody figured out like how to do that by any chance? Did you get to figure it out, or did you try that?
From analysis, right, sir?
Right, yeah. So I'll do that. Okay, it's actually very simple. Okay, I mean, okay, so it's very simple. Actually, you can download the results and then open it in analysis, and from there you can do it by a simple um, by PDF or Word. I will quickly show that to you. Okay, so go to results. Okay, as I've told you yesterday, this is a test which we have already executed. Okay, this has a run ID of 31. This has executed on August 4th. Okay, so August 4th is 4 days back. Okay, from 725 to 743, and you go to results, you have multiple files. So the last time around we have explored the HTML report. Okay, so we have done that. So for actually, okay, for actually but this one is it's a what do I say? This HTML file is something that you can see it in your test ID. Okay, so go to test runs. This is the test ID of what? Test ID, run ID as 31. Okay, so you go to that run ID of 31. Okay, where is that run ID? Run ID, test ID is there. Okay, run ID of 31. Okay, so you go to this particular run ID, and then you can see the HTML report from here. And if you want, yesterday we have also discussed how to download. I mean, when I said yesterday, the last class we have discussed how to download and then send it to send it to the team and all that. Okay, so we have seen all that. Okay, but it will be an HTML report is what we have seen. Okay, how to download and send it. But if you want a Word or a PDF, okay, if you want a Word or a PDF, go to results. Okay, so then you download this. Okay, HTML report, you download this and then you can send it to the team and all that. But some people like HTML report, some people doesn't, because yesterday I've told you, the last time around we have to send a folder as well along with the file. Okay, so there is a folder. If you open this, there is a folder that you have to send along with this HTML, because without sending this folder, the people will not be able to open this HTML, which we have seen this. Okay, but if you, I mean, even irrespective of that, they don't feel comfortable if you send it in an HTML report. Okay, lot of people. Okay, so the best idea is to send it in a Word or a PDF. So for that, what you have to do is you download this analysis results file. Okay, you download this analysis results file. Okay, and then you can obviously unzip it. Okay, okay, you can unzip it, and then Okay, and then open this, analysis file. Okay, you see, open this analysis. If you have an analyzer installed on your machine, automatically this symbol will be displayed. Okay, and here it clearly says that Microsoft LoadRunner analysis session. And if you see the extension, it's an LRA file. Okay, you double click on this, and then whatever the results that you're able to see in that HTML file, now you will be able to see it in this analysis file. So in the very first class when I spoke about, okay, do you need an analyzer? The answer is yes. I mean, you don't need an analyzer per se if you want to send it via HTML, but you wanted to modify, you wanted to do some changes, or you wanted to, do certain things, open up in analysis is much more simpler and all that. Let's say you wanted to filter, you wanted to apply the global filters and all that. So it's better, you download that file, open it in the analyzer, and you can apply the filters, you can merge. Even over there you can merge, but here there is a lot of flexibility. Okay, and one of the important things is once this is done, okay, then you can export it into a Word document, or all that. Okay, you see, this is the report, and then you can have a Word document or a PDF and all that, and then this is the file that you can actually send it to the developers. Okay, so I want a PDF file. Okay, then you just say PDF, and then then you just say report, and now you will have the PDF report generated. Okay, this seems to be have stored in the documents. You can go to the documents. Okay, now you have the report which is in the PDF file. Okay, now you have the report which is a PDF file. Are we clear, guys? And you can save it in a Word, and you can save it in all the platform on the, I mean, you can save it in a lot of options that they have given here. Okay, they have given a lot of options. You can select whatever the options that you want. Okay, and then even in a PowerPoint or other areas, and you can send it. Okay, so are we clear, guys? So this is the question I've asked you. So I thought, I'll answer this question before I move further. Okay, before I move further. Okay, so are we clear, guys, all of you?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so a lot of people who do that, I mean, in PC that option was there, so I was not 100% sure the last time around, in this LRE, if that option is there or not. Okay, so that is the reason why, I just looked at it and it was straightforward. Anyways, so shall we go to the next step, or the next thing, all of you guys?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so now, okay, now we'll start looking at, the network virtualization, defining the SLAs and monitors. And once all this is run, we will do one test to see how this will, this will affect, your test and all that. Okay, so let's go ahead and work on these things: monitors, SLA, and network virtualization. The very important thing and interesting thing is, my interesting thing is network virtualization. So today let's restrict our discussion to network virtualization. If we have more time, then we will explore these topics as well. Okay, okay, let's go to my LRE. Okay, let's go to my LRE. Where is my LRE? Okay, this is where it is. Okay, so go to any test. Okay, go to any test, um, dashboard. Okay, okay, these are the test scenarios that I've created. Let me look at a good test, or something which is meaningful. Okay, I think load test looks good. uh, you can say edit test, and you will be able to see it. No, I didn't like that. Let's go to this test. Okay, and then edit test. Oh, nothing is here. Okay, then we'll go to that load test itself. Somebody, I think students are creating this. Okay, so let me go to the load test itself. I think that is the meaningful one that I have. Okay, yeah, that is the only test, meaningful one there. It doesn't matter, whatever it is. So the network virtualization, okay, that's what is our topic right now. Okay, so that option is available over here. When you go to your scenario, okay, you go to your scenario, and when you are there in the groups and workload, Okay, groups and workload, where you define your controller load generator, add the groups and all that, right? So this is the place that you have. Okay, here when you go to more options, okay, we have discussed about the randover points and all that, right? Okay, so you go to this virtual location. Okay, this is where my interest is. Okay, and and you see, okay, you wanted to create a scenario. Okay, let me explain it this way. Okay, and how many people would know this, network virtualization? How many people have heard about it or know about this network virtualization, guys?
Yeah, I heard. I worked also, but according to my understanding, I worked, sir, but not very
Okay.
confident.
Okay. About others, Chetra seems to have worked on that. About how about others? Dinesh, Madhuri, Anu, Sirish, Shakir, Farhana, Ajay, and Payal. What about you guys?
No,
Did you heard about it?
we know the process,
No,
but
sir,
we are not
never work on
exactly
it.
sure how it works.
Okay. Okay. Perfect. Perfect. Okay. So, what is this concept of network virtualization? First, let's try to understand. Then we will try to, we'll try to see how that can be done, on or how it can be taken care on the LRE. But first, let's try to understand the concept. Okay. Without understanding that, it will be very difficult. Where is my paint? Paint is gone. Paint 3D is there. I didn't never explored that. Okay, but my regular paint, where is it? Is somebody uninstalled it from my system? Okay, I think paint 3D. Let me try that. I've never used it. Okay, okay. Now, okay. So guys, okay, I haven't used this, so it will take a little bit of time for me to scale up on this one. Okay, so 3D pictures and everything is there, but I need a simple square picture. Okay, a simple square, but I don't need a 3D. I want a 2D. Okay, 2D
Yeah,
shapes are here. Okay, but oh, 2D shapes. Okay, hang on. Where can I delete all of that? Can you see something where we can clear all this?
we can do undo, right, sir?
But lot of times. Okay, I've done that. Okay, so let's go to do pictures. Okay, and so assume, guys. Okay. Oh my God. Okay, you have to do that all the time, is it? Okay, assume that, guys. Now our who is there in the class? Let me see that. Okay, so our Dinesh. Okay, our Dinesh is the guy who is using this application. Let's say this is our IRCTC application. Okay, so this is our IRCTC application. Okay, okay, IRCTC application. Okay, now our Dinesh is a client who's using this application. Let's say the data center or the servers for IRCTC. Okay, okay, let's assume this is in Delhi. Okay, hang on, guys. So I'm not able to I'm not able to see how can I write it. Okay, so this, let's say this is in Delhi. Okay, what is there in Delhi? The data center. Okay, where all your servers are. Okay, so let's say it is in Delhi. Okay, now our Dinesh, let's say he's sitting. Where are you from, Dinesh?
I'm from Bangalore.
Okay, so our Dinesh is sitting in Bangalore. Okay, now just give me some time, guys. I'm trying to figure out certain things here. Okay, so middle. Okay, so our Dinesh is sitting in Bangalore. Okay, and using this IRCTC. So he has sent a request. He has clicked on a login. So he has sent a request. Okay, he has sent a request. Where are arrow marks? Arrow marks. Arrow marks. 2D shape. Arrow marks. Stickers. FX. Is it there in the FX canvas? 3D. I don't need a 3D. Okay, 3D
In
shapes.
2D shapes, we got 2D shapes
Okay,
above line and line
this
and
one you're
curve.
talking about. Okay, but
Yes,
these are not arrow marks, na? This is just a line. Okay, then in that case, I'll do this. Okay. So I'll do this. Okay. So now, now our Dinesh has sent a request. Okay. Uh, sitting in Bangalore, and then this IRCT servers, okay, data center is in Bangalore. So obviously the request, go from Bangalore to Delhi. So do you think it will take a little bit of time to go from Bangalore to Delhi? Or just as soon as you click with zero seconds it will go there? I want to hear from everybody. Okay. Our Dinesh sitting in Bangalore has sent us a request to IRCTC, which means that he has sent a request to the servers of IRCTC, which is there in Delhi. So from Bangalore to Delhi, the request has to travel obviously via your internet. Okay. Does it take any time at all?
Yes, sir. It will take some
Yes,
delay in
yes, sir.
milliseconds, I can say.
Okay, okay, wonderful. Okay, so there is certain delay, but the same Dinesh, okay, is sitting, let's say, in in New Delhi, okay, sorry, New York, okay, is sitting in New York and send the same request. Do you think the delay will be more or less as compared to before when he is in Bangalore?
More, sir.
More,
More
sir.
It will be
latency will be.
it will be
More.
more. Okay, okay, you already know the concept of latency. This is what we call it as a latency. Okay, so this is what we call it as a latency. So now, Kumar sir, I just wanted to see really how much time it takes. Okay, somebody sitting in Bangalore, and then you're sending it to IRCT, how much time it takes? Okay, or in other words, this delay or whatever we call it as latency, somebody has already said that, which is wonderful. Okay, so this delay is what we call it as latency. Okay, it's called latency. Okay, so it's called latency. Wonderful. Now you understood the latency. So the server is really far away from the client. The latency will be higher or lower? The server is really far. Okay, from the client or from the person accessing it, the latency will be higher or lower?
Higher.
Higher.
Okay, so then let's say the
Higher.
server is in the same city as you are. Okay, will the latency will be lower or higher?
Lower.
Lower.
Lower. Okay, simple, wonderful. Okay, so Kumar sir, tell me sir, how much that time will be? Okay, so go to command line, guys. Okay, everybody, you understand how to go to, I think I messed up something here. Okay, this is not working, my automatic thing is not working. Okay, so let me go to the command line. Hang on. Hang on, guys. So somehow this CMD is, it is not pulling up. Just give me one moment. Okay, so now, okay, so you just say ping, okay, www dot, okay, I would say google.com. Okay, instead of IRCTC, I'm just pinging Google. Okay, so now, okay, you see it has pinged 4 times. How many times it has pinged? Is everybody able to see? Okay,
Yes,
everybody able
yes,
to see us? Okay, you
Yes,
have
sir.
pinged
yes, sir.
google.com, and to which IP address the request went to 142.250.183.228. So it means that the web app server of Google is this particular IP address. Okay, wonderful. And how many times it has sent the request? 1, 2, 3, 4. The very first time, how much time it has taken, guys? 15 milliseconds for the
Millisecond.
request to go. Yeah, 15 milliseconds. Second time, how much it taken? 14.
14
Third time,
milliseconds.
15. So second time, 14. Okay, on an average, what is that latency, guys? Now on an average, minimum is 14, maximum is 15.
14.
On an average, you can say
14.5.
14.5. Okay, but they have said 14. So basically, I don't know where is my Google server, but I am sitting in Hyderabad. When I've sent the request to Google, okay, it has taken 14, on an average it has taken 14 milliseconds. It's not seconds. How much it is? Milliseconds. Are we clear, guys, now? Okay, so, and one more thing. Okay, you carefully read this. Somebody, can you read it for me? Can somebody unmute themselves and read it for me?
Approximate round trip times in milliseconds.
So is this 14 seconds is only for sending the request, or it is receiving the response as well?
Both receiving response as well.
Both.
Ah, so For going it is 7 milliseconds, and for coming back it is 7 more milliseconds, so it is 14 milliseconds. Are we clear, guys, now?
Is it divided equally, sir? Like you said, 14 in 14, 7 seconds for the 7 milliseconds for the request and 7 milliseconds for the response. Like,
Obviously, right? That's what we think, right? That's how it should be. Okay, maybe there could be zero point 0.5 milliseconds here and there, and that doesn't matter to us at all. Okay, I've just said, just to say that, but I'm not 100% sure. But logically speaking, more or less, it will be same. It cannot be 100% accurate. It will be exactly 7 and coming back exactly 7, but on
yeah,
average, I'm saying. Okay, so it
got
should not be like going 1 milliseconds and coming back it is 13 milliseconds. That much variation will not be there. The variation, if it is there, it could be like 6.9 and 7.1 or 6.8 or 7.2, but you cannot say it's exactly half. But you can, for just our talking purposes, you can say it. Okay. So this is what we call it as a latency. Okay. Now 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 okay, now you guys tell me. Okay, typically what happens is, okay, this is your servers. Let's say you're doing the performance testing for some application. I don't know, let's say it's the same IRCTC application. Okay, you're doing the performance testing for the same IRCTC application. Okay, now okay, now is the real user sending the request or virtual user sending the request here?
Virtual.
Virtual user is sending the request. Okay, so the virtual user comes from where? Just like that, it will drop out, or it will come from somewhere?
load generator.
Load generator.
Basically, LG machine creates a virtual user, and that will be sending the request. Okay, so in the real world, Dinesh is replaced by the LG, but Dinesh is in Bangalore. Okay, but here your LG mostly, more or less, it will be in the same data center, or wherever this application is, that's where your LG is. That's how performance, I mean, the LRE will be set up in general. Okay, or it will be, if it is there somewhere as well, it will be in the same network, and that's why you will use a VPN, which means that both LG and IRCTC will be in the same network, which means that it will, more or less, it will be in the same location. Okay, when both your application and LG, which gives the virtual user, are in the same location, will there be any latency? It's not even in the same city, but it's in the same network, it's in the same system. Okay, will there be any
Might be too
latency?
minimal.
It could be zero, or if it is there something, it will be like
Yeah, it
nanoseconds
will
or something like that.
10
Okay,
to 0.
yeah, it will be very close to zero. Okay, but will that be close to what would be if Dinesh was accessing from Bangalore? No, right? Okay,
No,
No,
so which means that whatever the response times that is captured by this LG, okay, will it be accurate to real time?
no, actually.
no,
No,
sir.
it, no, it
No,
will
sir.
be off by, if this is what it is, you are doing the performance testing for Google. Okay, you will be off by 7 milliseconds. Kumar sir, 7 milliseconds is not a big deal, sir. Okay, what is there? Okay, why to worry about it? Okay, if that is what you wanted to say. Okay, latency from, okay, New York to boom, Mumbai. Okay, something like that we'll say. Okay, so how many milliseconds is there? If the client, if the person is in New York and the servers are in Mumbai, how much is there? How much is the minimum? How much is the maximum? Around 258
50.
milliseconds, which means
258.
that it is zero point 0.2 seconds. Na? 0.2 seconds is good enough. We cannot ignore it. Don't you think so?
Yes, sir.
No.
Right? Okay. So Kumar sir, it is good. Yeah, we have to simulate this. Okay, when we are doing the performance testing, even though my LG cannot be, I mean, now, okay, now you know that 0.2 seconds is the variation, and it could be more if it is there in some other cities. Okay, uh, it could be zero point 0.3, it could be zero point 0.4, it could be 0.1, but definitely this latency will be there. okay, irrespective of wherever it is, and the results that you get without considering the latency may not be 100% accurate. Is my is my statement correct, all of you?
Yes.
Wonderful, superb. Okay, now you tell me what are my solutions now. What are my solutions? What is the option? The best option is move this LG to the place where my clients are there. Don't you think so?
Yeah.
Where the
Yes, sir.
customers are there, where the people who is this application, move this LG over there. Okay, wonderful, oh, Dinesh. But some of them are in Delhi, some of them are in New York, some of them are in Hyderabad, some of them are in Middle East. In how many places we can put this LG? Let's say this LG can give you 400 virtual users, and those 400 virtual users are with which you need to run the performance testing. Then you want to generate all the virtual users from this LGs, all the 400 virtual users from this LG only. Okay, now what you are telling me, Kumar sir, is to put this LG in 10 different places, which means that 10 users comes from Delhi, 10 users comes from New York, and 10 users comes from Middle East, 10 users comes from Australia. So I have to put so many LGs at so many places. Okay, do you think is this physically, I mean, practically possible?
Oh
No,
my
sir.
No. Yes, there is cloud, there is AWS, there is Azure. You can take those machines from different locations and then make them as LGs. Yeah, if you ask me, it is possible practically. Yes, it is possible. Will people spend so much money to simulate this? I don't think so. Okay, so that is the reason why. Okay, that is the reason why there is a concept of okay, there is a concept of network virtualization. Okay, network virtualization. What do you do this, Kumar, here? What do we do it? Okay, hang on, let me delete these profiles. Okay, there are a couple of profiles that I have done just before the class. These are the standard profiles. It came with the LRE, as you can see. Now you look at this profile. What does this profile says? Can somebody read it out for me? Where is the client?
Client located in Australia, server located on US East Coast.
Okay, US East. Okay, if your client is there in Australia and your server is in US, then you can use this profile. Okay, and if your client is in London and server is in US, you can use this profile. If client is in India and server is in US, you can use this. Okay, along with that, if somebody is using, you are accessing the application from mobile, and that is 2.5G speed, then you can use this. 3G, if it is like that, then you can use it. 2.5G busy to 3.3G typical, 3G good, 4G good. If this is the profile, then you can use this. Who will give these profiles? That my customers are from accessing from mobile and they have a 3G network. Who will give this kind of information to you?
business people, stakeholders.
Stakeholders. Okay, then you will use these profiles. Okay, else you can, when you're capturing the NFRs, you're supposed to capture all this information, and once you capture this information, you can use this network virtualization to simulate it. Okay, now let's assume really your client is in India and the server is in US. You can use this profile, click on OK, and that's about it. Okay, and that's about it. Then you will start using that particular profile. Are we done yet? Are we done yet? No. Let me add one more group so that I'll be able to explain this better. Okay. Okay, I've added one more group just that I can explain better. Now you went to this profile, okay, you went to this profile, okay, and then you have decided that you're going to use India to US. You have studied everything. First, typically this will be off. Okay, typically this will be off. First, you switch it on. Okay, switch it on, and you wanted to do this India to US EC. EC is the East Coast. Don't get overwhelmed by looking at the name. This is just the name of the profile name. Okay, now you're not done yet. You're not done yet. Okay, go to virtual location. Now now whatever the profile that you wanted to assign, you select that and add it. So for the first group, I wanted to assign the profile called, okay, the client is located in India, server is in US. Okay, do you want to do that for the second one as well? Certainly you can do it. But if you wanted to do some other profile where the client is in London and server is in US, okay, you can assign that. And the third group, okay, you wanted to assign that, all your customers are using 4G, or the people, this cancel flight, they are using 4G. You can assign that profile and give it like this. Okay, for three different groups you can give three different profiles, or for all the three groups you can give the same profile. Again, it is depending upon your need, guys, depending upon your need. I cannot tell you, okay, so what you have to give and all that. Okay, so depending on the need, you can give this virtual location. Okay, you can give this location name. Are you clear so far? Are we clear so far, all of you? Okay, are we clear so far, all of you?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, wonderful, wonderful. Now the next question. Any questions? If you don't have questions, I'll ask you a question, and everybody's supposed to answer. Okay, any questions? Okay, now I have two LGs. Kumar sir, I have two LGs. Okay, so LG1, it should be as if it should be simulated from London, and LG2, it should be as if it should be simulated from New York. Okay, LG1, this is your LG1, this is your LG2. Okay, now, okay, so this is your LG1. Okay, this is your LG1. Okay, so this is your LG1. Okay, and this is your LG2. Okay, this is your LG2. Okay, so you wanted to, and obviously when you create your environment, LRE environment, these LGs will be in the same network as in IRCTC, so they will not be able to simulate the latency appropriately. Okay, but your situation is such that LG1 should be in London. Okay, LG1 should be in London. Okay, and LG2 should be in New York. Okay, sorry, in Australia or in India. Let's assume it is India. Okay, LG2 should be in India. Okay, in India. Okay, wonderful. Okay, now what you do, instead of allocating this this profiles on the group based, you can assign the profiles on the load generator based. Right now in my environment, I have only one load generator. Okay, so obviously I mean, if there are multiple load generators, you could have selected this load generator and you say assign that one profile for London. Okay, if I had one more load generator, I'll select that particular load generator and select India to US. Select India to US. Okay, are we clear, guys, all of you? This one, actually these are very simple, but I'm opening it up and explaining so that it is very easy. Okay, okay. Shakir has asked a question, but until here, any questions, guys? Shakir has asked a question. I'll answer that question, but before I take the question, any questions here?
Yes, sir. For example, there is a scenario like for only one script, there are two different location users is there. For example, 10
Hmm,
users for the script, 5 users from India, let's say 5 users from London
hmm,
for the same script. How can I do
hmm.
the virtualization here?
Okay, add the same script twice.
Okay.
Okay, so this same script I'm adding twice. Okay,
Hmm.
okay. Now go to virtual location. This one you want it from India, right?
Hmm.
Okay, this one is India, and this one you want it from where?
London or somewhere else. Yeah.
London. Okay, and in this one supposed to run with 5 users, this one is supposed to run with 10 users. You can do that
Hmm.
same thing here.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
It's very simple. Those things are like easy peasily done. Okay, not a problem. Okay,
Kumar sir,
any other? Yeah.
Yes, yes, yeah. See, there are pre-specified locations, right? Let's say that our client are in some location where it is not part. So we need
This
to
is what I
create
want
a
to ask you.
location.
Wonderful. Okay, this is what I want somebody to ask this question. So now there are predefined profiles. If there is a profile where this is not there, let's assume my client is in Bangalore, server is in Delhi. Is that profile available here? No,
No.
right? Okay, okay. Does that mean that I cannot do it? Then why there is a tool? Okay, so for those profiles, yes, you can create it. Okay, so first, what is there? My client is in Bangalore. Client Bangalore. Any name you can give. Okay, this is for your reference. Client Bangalore. Okay, and server Delhi. Okay, description you can give whatever you want. That is for your own reference. Okay, for now I'll give the same description as the heading. Okay, so then click on OK. Okay, then I probably have to give some other name. What is this? Maybe this doesn't take those. Okay. Oh, there seems to be some naming this thing. Okay, you cannot put hyphens. Looks like. Okay, so I've given the name. Again, the name doesn't matter. Okay, this is just for your reference so that you yourself is coming after 1 month and looking at the profile, or in your team 10 other people are there. They want looking at the profile. It should make sense to them. You give a meaningful description to it and a meaningful location name. Okay, once you give that, okay, how do we do it? By clicking on this particular new virtual location. Then you go ahead and edit it. Go ahead and edit it. Okay, once you have given the name, you go ahead and edit it. Okay, now there are three options that is there. Okay. Okay, now okay, there is a custom option. Okay, there is a global library option. There is import from files. Again, Shakir, I do remember your question. Please remind me after some more time. I'll complete this chapter and I'll come to you, Shakir. Okay, I didn't forget your question. Okay,
Yes, sir. Okay, sir.
yeah, so this is interesting. Watch here. Okay, so there are three options. Now let me go with the custom. Once I complete these two things, you will easily understand. Okay, custom is manually specify the virtual location parameters. Let's look at it, what is there. Okay, but you understood that you have to feed in the data. Okay, next, select this one. Okay, latency you have to give. Kumar sir, how do I know the latency? Okay, latency will be available from internet. Okay, from Delhi, from Bangalore to Delhi. Okay, you click on this. Okay, but again, not everything is available on internet. Okay, but some of them is not available on the internet. Then you can go to your network admin. They will be able to give it. They will be able to give it. What is the latency? Simply whatever this symbol that you see here, on an average it looks like 36 to 37. Okay, this is done at today itself at 2. This is done at 1. This is at 12, 11. This is all the data of today. Okay, so if you can see it, for every 1 hour they have given this latency. You can take any number, but on an average I would take 37. Okay, 37. Okay, download bandwidth. Okay, uh, I don't know. If you don't know, you can talk to your admin. Okay, usually they will be able to give. How they can give? Okay, now you see. mm, okay, the- you when you run it, you know the download and upload. Okay, so every bandwidth has this download and upload. Okay, you wait for some time, it will plug some number for download, it will plug some number for upload. Okay, but we don't know where is this server, and I am in Hyderabad and all that. So these numbers that you see cannot be the real numbers. Okay, which you need to plug in, because the client is not in Bangalore, the server is not in Delhi. So obviously these are not the right numbers. But yes, that kind of numbers is something that you can get it from your uh, from your where is that window gone? Okay, here is the window. Okay, from your this thing. Okay, and packet loss is also something that I don't think you will get it from internet. Okay, so you have to talk to your network admin and plug in those numbers. But that is the difficulty that you have when you select this option called manual, because you need those numbers. Okay, and network team is the best person to give those numbers to you. The packet loss, latency, download bandwidth, and upload bandwidth. If you go to the client, I don't think they will be happy if you ask these kind of questions. Okay, so if you don't know, I'll leave like that. Okay, and and then the next thing is, okay, shared bandwidth and individual bandwidth. Okay, so you can see here, typically people I think go with an individual bandwidth because most of your clients doesn't use the shared bandwidth. Okay, the defined bandwidth is shared between all the virtual users. I don't think that is the right approach. Okay, whatever the bandwidth is for the individual person, okay, for each virtual user. Okay, because this is what is the bandwidth, okay, and all that for individual. But whatever is the bandwidth that is given, again, talk to your network admin and ask them if it is shared bandwidth or individual bandwidth. Okay, but right now we don't even know what is the bandwidth. We left it as it is, but generally it is for the individual bandwidth. Okay, now it will tell you what is the number that is feeding in. Latency 37, bandwidth is individual, and packet loss we haven't given, so it has taken 0. And download bandwidth, upload bandwidth we have not given, so it has taken unlimited. But ideally you want to get this information from your networking team and nobody is giving, I would probably leave it as it is. Okay, because you will not be able to get that information from anywhere. Or if you figure out a website or something, please let me know. Okay, please let me know. Now, now you see this profile is ready. This profile is ready. Now you can start using that profile. Okay, you can start using that profile. Okay, client Bangalore and Delhi. Okay, are we clear, guys, all of you?
Yes.
Okay, so wonderful, Kumar sir. Now, what about the other options that are there? Okay, we'll explore the other options as well. But the idea is like, but the idea is, okay, so the idea is out of those three options, the first option is where you have to manually, manually give it. Okay, so client in, I'll say Australia, not Australia, New Zealand. Okay, server wherever it is, server in India. Okay, and you can give the description, whatever the description, if you want it, or you can leave it as it is. Okay, so again, that is just for your reference. Okay, this time around we will see this third option, second option. Okay, let me go back. What is the second option? Define virtual location parameters based on worldwide network measurements. Okay, so there are some measurements which is already done worldwide, and we will be able to use those parameters. Okay, use those parameters. So there is a database, there is a library which is already been created by the Micro Focus. You just have to select and it will give you the bandwidth, it will give you the upload bandwidth, download bandwidth, packet loss, it will give you the latency, and it will give you all the information. So do you think you want to go with the custom or the global? What is the best option?
Global only. Why? Because we have
Global.
all details.
So it's already been pre-fed and you just have to use it, and you can trust this information more because it is coming from Micro Focus. Don't you think so, guys? Okay,
Yes,
instead
sir.
of randomly you plugging in the values, it is better you take it from this library, right? Okay, but the problem is, can somebody see it? You need the license for this. Okay, you need the license for this. That is the problem. You see, global rivalry is a partial version. Whatever they are given it to you right now, whatever you're about to see right now is a partial version. If you want the complete version, you have to purchase. In this partial version, what do you have? You have only two options. One is Mumbai, one is New York, and here in the server location there is no other options except Paris. Okay, but if it was a full version, all the places will be there or not?
Yeah,
Will
maybe.
be there.
Will be there. Since this is a partial version, they have given it to you so that you can play around and all that, understand what it is. So I've given this. So for the client location, they have given only two options, and server locations, it is all grayed out, so there is no other options. I have only one option. Basically, you're now, whatever the profile you are creating right now, this is the client is in New York, server is in Paris. So let me go back and change that first appropriately. Okay, first let me change that name. Okay, so let me see if it will allow me to rename it. Duplicate. Okay, edit the name and description. Okay, now you see, where is the client? Where is the client, guys?
US, New
Okay,
York,
yeah,
or Paris.
wonderful.
Yeah.
Okay, so now let's go ahead and create the profile. Okay, click on that button, create the profile. Okay, select the global library. Okay, now you know the client is there in New York and the server is in Paris. Click on next. Okay, so and you can also select the technology the client is using, WAN network or 2.5 3G, whatever it is. Okay, and what is the bandwidth the client is using. Okay, if you're I mean the customer. Okay, when I said the client, your end customer. Okay, your end customer is using, let's say, okay, let's say 256. Okay, and that is the download and that is the upload. Generally, who will give? Your client will give. Okay, your client, as in, whoever is asking you to do the performance testing, they will be giving, because they know what is their end customer behavior more than us. So if they haven't given, you can just put it unlimited. If they have given some numbers, plug in that numbers. Okay, and you can see the communication quality. Typically you leave it as fair, but your client said that their customers are having a poor connectivity or very good connectivity, then you can then you can select it. Otherwise you can leave it as fair. Okay, and your client is saying that I really don't care what is my end customer's bandwidth, you can leave it unlimited. Okay, or they are saying that all their customers are 4G customers, you can select them, and they are using the AT&T, you can select them, and you can say that they are using it in the business hours or off hours, you can select the appropriate thing. And poor, fair, good, you can leave it as it is. Or if your client is saying they are the AT&T connection is really really good, you can just see that. In India you have Airtel, you have Jio and all that, but in US and all those countries you have AT&T and the other things. Okay, AT&T and other things. Okay, Verizon and whatever the other things. Okay, then it will, you can say it has to be shared or individual, typically individual. Then it will automatically tell you, okay, how much is the latency, what is the packet loss, how much is the bandwidth and upload and all that. Okay, it will automatically select, and then you can click on okay. Now you just say okay. Now go back to your scenario. Okay, click on this virtual location, then you can start. Then you can start using this particular profile. You can start using this particular profile, and then go ahead. Okay, go ahead, save the test, and then go ahead, run the test. Go ahead, run the test. Okay, are we clear, guys? All of you, are we clear, all of you?
Yeah, Kumar sir, one question. So we gave that in that shared bandwidth and individual. We selected individual, right? So
Mhm.
usually we are using this Office VPNs and also it will be shared among all the users, right?
See, you're just simulating, Amma. Okay, this is not like it will actually behave like that. So once you say shared
Mhm.
and all that, the bandwidth and all that will change. Okay, so if you go back here, okay, so don't think that actually it will be happening. Okay, so if you go back here, it has given finally some number. Once you give the unlimited bandwidth, it has given some number. These numbers will change. Okay, if you play around with that, not exactly it will actually use that. Okay, first you need to understand the end user behavior. Accordingly you have to select that. So that's what my thing is. Do you have some other what do you say, like um, explanation for that, or your understanding is something else? That's what my understanding was.
No, it's like, see, we had this requirement for location-based testing, okay? But
Okay.
according to the Micro Focus documentation, I refer that and I did something, and the customer or the clients, they do not know any details whatever we ask, and there is no network team, and if we connect with tools team also, they do not give any information on this. Okay, so according to my understanding, I went ahead and did. So so my understanding was we are shared in the sense, the defined bandwidth, like, we are all using Office related VPNs and all, right? Everything, it's not our individual. So I thought that would be the perfect option. So I'm just checking with you. Even I'm not very confident on what I did.
Well, I mean, all my life I have, I mean, based on my discussion, I've been using this. But again, I don't think, these two things matter a lot. Okay. Eventually, what you see, these metrics matter. Finally, the latency, the packet loss, download bandwidth, upload bandwidth, this would be, this would matter. Okay. So if, but I have seen, as you said, now, most of my friends by default, they will be using, okay, they will be using this one, okay, the shared bandwidth itself, okay. Only for the mobile they have been using this, but my personal preference is irrespective of this, I've been using this. But what you said could make sense, but the end users, we don't expect them everybody to be in the offices and use it based on your explanation, okay. They could be sitting at home and they could be doing anything and doing it. That's what you're telling me, right? Okay, they will be in a
Yeah,
shared network and using it, and that's why you're using it, okay. But you expect
right.
the end user to be sitting at their homes and doing it, which means that each end user have its own bandwidth, okay. What here it is
Okay.
saying clearly, if you can watch the defined bandwidth, whatever the bandwidth that you have defined, it will be shared across all virtual users in the vUser group, okay. In my vUser group there are 10. In this virtual vUser group, this is the group, right? Okay, in this group, okay, I have, let's say, 10 users. All the 10 users will use this bandwidth, the defined bandwidth, whatever the bandwidth that you have defined, it will be used by all these 10 users. But this one is like each user, is allocated a separate bandwidth. The defined bandwidth is allocated to the each virtual user. So whatever the bandwidth that you have defined, okay, so I haven't defined anything, okay, whatever the bandwidth has been defined, okay, whatever the bandwidth that have been defined, 56, let's say, okay, that is shared, that is this 56 is for each virtual user, not for the whole set of virtual users, okay. But maybe people use this because you don't have that kind of bandwidth, okay. I do agree as well. And typically for mobiles, typically people use this because the bandwidth of the mobiles is less, so you will have enough for you to do it, okay. So if you select a mobile, okay, you select a mobile, okay, then probably, now that I've selected a mobile, I would use this, okay. I would use this, okay. Are we clear, guys?
Okay, sir.
Okay. And okay, select this option to emulate mobile network connections. So you can we can go with this because clearly is saying this. For mobile you can select this. For others, for WAN and all that, we can go with, but right now I've selected mobile. I'll go with this one, okay. I'll go with this one. Are we clear, guys, all of you?
I have one
Yes.
question, sir.
Okay, go ahead, shoot it.
Yeah. So whenever we are configuring these things, latency comes into the picture, right? So
Yes.
yeah, after running the test, will this latency like millisecond things, this will added in our response time?
Obviously, right? Otherwise, why we are going through so much pain? And you can see that there is licensing
But
as well. So if you are spending that
yeah, yeah,
money, so you want that to be added to the response time so that they are as accurate as possible to the real world. Yes, go ahead.
yeah. So let's say we have a latency of 200 milliseconds, and if
Yes.
we are putting the load of 1,000 users,
Hmm.
right? So
Yeah,
it
yeah.
will add 200, standard 200 millisecond, or depending upon the virtual users, it will likewise add the, response times will get higher and all that thing.
See the latency which is there, which is 200 milliseconds or whatever it is, okay, will be added to each transaction response times. Okay, let's say, okay, let's say your LG and IRCTC say is there in the same network and you have done the performance testing. Okay, so the average transaction response time, the 90 percentile response time, okay, let's say for login transaction is 2 seconds. Okay, for login transaction is 2 seconds. Okay, okay, so it is 2 seconds. Okay, so this is for the login transaction. This is without simulating. Okay, but with the simulating, and let's say that 200 milliseconds is supposed to be added, it's 2.2, it will be approximately 2.2 milliseconds. Okay, so it will be around 2.2 milliseconds. Let's say this 2 seconds is for 100 users. Okay, so 100 virtual users. Okay, this 2 seconds, the load is 100 virtual users, so obviously this 2.2 will be for 100 virtual users, 100 virtual users. Okay, let's say, okay, let's say let's say it is 2.5 seconds. Okay, the same login transaction. same login transaction. This is for 200 virtual users. Let's say this is for 200 virtual users. Okay, then this will be approximately around 2.7 or 2.8 seconds. Okay, for the same login transaction with 200 virtual users. Okay, again, this you cannot say that this is exactly 2 milliseconds will be added here and here. Okay, here and there it will be added, because if you run the same test again with same 100 virtual users, you this time around the 90 percentile could be 1.9 or 2.2. Okay, I think you would have seen it. That's why most of the people, they do 3 load tests and then they take the average. Okay, and I have seen that as well, because every time you run the test with 100 virtual users, it will not be exactly 2 seconds. Sometimes it will be that 20 the 200 the zero point 0.2 milliseconds here and there, or 0.5 milliseconds here and there will be there. Okay, so but definitely with the network virtualization, it will be more than what it would be, and approximately that time that it is more than the regular one will be close to the latency time. Okay, did I
Okay.
answer that
Fine.
question?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay, so 2 people said they had that question. What, who is the other person? Go ahead, guys. Please ask the question. I'll try to answer whatever as per my knowledge. Okay. So there's 2 people said, when I asked the question, 2 people said they had the questions. So who is the other person? Okay, fine, not an issue. So Shakir, are you there?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Wonderful. So you have asked the question, what is the difference between IP spoofing and network virtualization? Can anybody tell me what is the difference between both of them? Okay, can somebody tell me why IP spoofing is done? Why this is done?
Yes, sir. Like if the application architecture is based on the IP address, like load balancer is working on based working upon that, then
Wonderful.
we need to go for this.
Superb. Okay. Usually there is algorithms for load balancing. Okay. There is a load balancer, and if that load balancer algorithm is based on IP. Okay. Based on IP means if you're getting a request from the new IP, it will send to the new server. If you're getting the request from the old IP, it will send to the same server. Okay. So are you understanding, guys? Shakir, should I have to explain that, or have you understood that part?
Yes, sir. I know that part.
Okay. So this is my load balancer, and then this is my web app server 1, and this is my web app server 2. Okay, this is my web app server 2. Okay, this is my load balancer. Okay, load balancer. Okay, this is my web app server 1. Okay, okay, this is my web app server 2. Okay, now you tell me. Okay, there is a client, let's say our Shakir. Okay, Shakir, okay, has sent the request. Okay, so this is our Shakir. Okay, he has sent a request. Okay, now Shakir, you are sending a request. Okay, so you're sending it from your computer. So do you have a IP address, or there will not be any IP address? You're connected to the internet, will you have an IP address, Shakir?
Yes, sir. I have IP address.
Okay, so you'll have an IP address 192.168.0.1. Let's assume that is your IP address. Okay, that is your IP address. Now, where is the people? Okay, now Madhuri. Okay, Madhuri is another client. Okay, client means she is using that application. Okay, she is using this application. Okay, this is Madhuri. Madhuri, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so this is our Madhuri. Okay, so now Madhuri has sent another request for this particular application. Okay, she will have the same IP address as Shakir, or she will have some other IP address?
Different
Some
IP
other IP
address.
address.
Okay, it is like your home address. No two homes will have the same address, even though they are living in the same flat as well. Okay, so Shakir might be flat number 1 and Dinesh might be flat number 2. Okay, so there is no way that two different houses will have the same house address. It will be 100% different. Same thing with the IP addresses as well. Now in the real time, this is what happens. Every request comes to your load balancer, there will be coming from different IP addresses, which means that okay, Now Shakir has send the request. Now load balancer knows that it came from this 0.1. Let's assume the load balancer has assigned this Shakir to web app server 1. Okay. Now Madhuri has sent one more request. Her IP address is different. More or less, if this load balancer is your algorithm is based on IP addresses, this will be assigned to web app server 2, because web app server 1 is having little more load than web app server 2. This is little more loaded than this one. The load balancer is supposed to balance the load across these two, which means that it should make sure that these two servers are doing the same amount of work. It is unfair if this is doing more work, this is doing less work. So typically, okay, this IP address is new, so it will be assigned to an IP to a server where the load is less. So it goes to, let's assume it has went to web app server 2. Not necessarily that just with one request this is loaded and this is less loaded, but just for my discussion purposes, okay, it will check which one is less loaded, and let's assume this web app server 2 is less loaded. It will send the request to the web app server 2. But Shakir is sending again one more request. Okay, it is the same IP address, so ideally it will say, it will assign it to the same web app server. Okay, it will assign to the same web app server. Okay. Have you understood so far, all of you, everything, or any questions so far? Now I'm trying to explain the IP spoofing.
Yeah, we are clear.
Got it.
Clear? Got it. Now let's keep these two people aside, Madhuri and Shakir. Let's keep these two people little aside. Okay. Oh, okay. Let's keep these people aside. How can I move this? Canvas, library, effects, brush. I just wanted to select this and then move little bit. Okay. So let's keep this aside. Okay, for now. Okay. Now let's assume this is in the real world, but now let's come back to our performance testing world. Okay, this is an LG. Okay, this is your LG. This is my LG. Okay, LG is what? LG is like a machine. It's a machine, right? It is a computer. It has a processor. It has RAM. It has cache memory. It has everything what a computer has. Basically a computer where you install the software called load generator. Okay, so will this have an IP address or not?
Yes, it is.
Will it have multiple IP addresses or one IP address?
One IP address.
It has one IP address. It is because it is one machine, just like what Shakir was using a machine, Madhuri was using the machine. This is also one machine, which means that it has only one IP address. Okay, let's assume it is 192.168.168.0.3. Now, this particular LG has given, let's say, 10 virtual users. How many virtual users? 10 virtual users. Okay, this machine has given 10 virtual users. Okay, 10 virtual users. Now you tell me, all the 10 virtual users will have the same IP address or different IP addresses?
Same IP
On-
address only.
Only one person is listening. Is it what? Other people don't want it to answer. Shakir, I think you can unmute, answer, and go to mute others. Okay. All the 10 virtual
Yes.
users will have the same IP address. Okay, will have the same IP address. Now this virtual user one is giving, let's make small boxes. Okay, let's make small boxes. Okay, instead of 10, let's say there are two virtual users. Okay, instead of 10, let's say there are two virtual users. Both these virtual users will have the same IP address. Now the virtual user one, let's say this is your virtual user one, send the request to it. Now the load balancer thinks that it has came from the request from request from 0.3. Okay, the request came from 0.3. Okay, request came from 0.3, and it will assign the request to, let's say, web app server 1. Okay, now the virtual user 2 is also sending the request. Okay, now the load balancer thinks that this also came from the same user, because the load balancer doesn't know that you're using a tool called LoadRunner or Jmeter or an LRE, and you're simulating multiple virtual users from the same machine. It doesn't know all that. All it knows that if the request is coming from a particular IP address, it is coming from the same user. Okay, that's what happens in the real world, and that's how the load balancer is created, and that's how it will behave. Okay, and it's not a wrong behavior, it is the correct behavior only. Okay, so but this, from your load runner point of view or performance testing point of view, this is a completely new user. Okay, it's not a old user. But from load runner point of, from load balancer point of view, this is coming from the same IP address. So it will assign to the server 1 or server 2.
Server one.
Server 1.
Server one.
If there are 100 virtual users and the requests are coming from all the 100 virtual users, all the 100 requests will be assigned to server 1 or server 2.
Server one.
Server one.
Server one.
All the load is taken by server 1 or server 2. The all the load of 100 users is taken by server 1 or server 2.
One only, sir.
One only, because
One.
all the requests are going to one only. Okay, which means that the load balancer is behaving correctly here.
Not at all.
Not at all. Is this a problem with the load balancing algorithm or load balancer, or is the problem with the way you are doing the performance testing?
No,
With the
it's
load
problem because
balancer.
all the user having the same address, IP address. That's the problem.
Wonderful. If you go to the developer, he will say that his load balancer is working the way it is supposed to be. You as a performance tester has to make sure that each virtual user should have a different IP address. Now, this is what you will do. You will do something called IP spoofing. What do you do? IP spoofing. IP spoofing. Okay. IP spoofing. IP spoofing means this virtual user, even though it is coming from this IP, and ideally the request coming from this virtual user should have this IP address, which is 0.3, but it will not have 0.3, it will have 0.4. And this virtual user came from this machine, which means that it has to have zero point 0.3, and the request going from here should have zero point 0.3, but it will have 0.5. Okay, similarly, each virtual user will be assigned, will be given a separate IP address. Okay, even though they're supposed to have zero point 0.3, but each one should have, will have 0.4, 0.5, 0.6, 0.7. Each one will have a separate IP address, and this is not real. You are cheating it, you are spoofing it, you are making it something which is not. So that's why it is called spoofing. Okay, so it is mocking, it is mocking. And the IP address, even though the IP address is zero point 0.3, but for the load balancer you're making it look like it came from 0.4 or zero point 0.5 or zero point 0.6 or zero point 0.7. For that you need to do the setup on your LGs and the controllers, and that is what is called IP spoofing, and it has nothing to do with network virtualization. Shakir, have I
Sir.
went too fast or did I answer that question? Shakir, buddy, did I
Sir,
answer
sir.
that question?
Sir, yes.
Clear now? 100%?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Now the next question is, Kumar sir, I've done a lot of performance testing. I haven't used IP spoofing. You're saying that you have to use IP spoofing, but I haven't done it. Why? Can somebody answer?
Maybe because all those application architecture were different.
Okay, can you be more specific?
Like
When you say different, where is it different?
that load balancer algorithm that developer has
So
defined.
not every single load balancer algorithm is based on IP spoofing. Gone are those days. Hardly nobody is using this IP spoofing based algorithm because that is not effective enough. There is round table. I mean, the round
Round
robin
robin.
and lot of algorithms are there. So that is the reason why not necessarily you will have to do the IP spoofing for every single project. Okay, wonderful. Can we close this session today? Or any other questions? Sorry. Yeah. Any other questions? Sinu, do we need to understand the load balancer way of working before we do performance testing? Absolutely yes, but people do it. No, they will just get the performance critical transaction, start scripting it, putting it in the load runner, run it. Somewhere it will, while you're monitoring, you will know that, web server 1, web server 2 is not equally balanced. Then you go to the developer, he will shout at you saying that at least basically understand what is the architecture. Then our performance testers come back and say that no, 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 we have to do the IP spoofing, and that will be be too late because IP spoofing is lot of work to set it up. To use it, you just have to click of a button, but to set it up, it will take a lot of time. You need the help of network administrators and all that. So yes, do we need to understand the architecture well? Yes. Just for IP spoofing? No, there are a lot of things for which you need to understand the architecture, to understand what all the servers are there, how many are there in the cloud, how many are there in the on-prem, and what kind of APM tools you have to use. So based on that architecture only, you have to figure out. There are a lot of things that you will figure out by understanding the architecture. So this is one of them. Okay. Have I answered that question, Sino?
Yes, sir, yeah. Because out of 20 requests, like 20 transactions, right, I could see 12 will goes to clone one and the remaining will goes to clone two. So that's why I'm asking. So do we need
I
to
don't think
understand that?
then in that case that could be the problem from them only. But again, when you say load balancing, you have sent 20 accurately. It should not go 10-10. Okay, 12-8 is
Okay.
also good. Okay, but again, the variation is too much of difference. Then you can go and talk to them. Okay, so usually it is based on CPU utilization. If the CPU utilization this is going about 90 and this is 20 or 30, then the load balancing is not happening well. But this is 60 or 70, this is 40 50, then you can say it is still good, because usually the CPU for each one is around 60 to 70 is the critical or the max limit. Okay, so this is 30 40, this is 50 60, that happens usually. So you can check with the developers if that is a concern, and if it is, then you can go and talk to them. But otherwise
Yeah,
you can ignore. It will
yeah,
not
yeah,
be accurately like half off, I wouldn't say that. Okay.
yeah, sure.
Any other questions? Farhana, Roy, Ajay, Chaitra, Madhuri, Dinesh, Anu, Shakir. Was this class
Sir,
useful to
how?
you? Yeah, Madhuri, go
Yeah,
ahead.
yeah, very much.
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
Madhuri.
How do we set up this IP spoofing?
I have to talk to the network admins. It's a huge work. Okay. You have to
Okay.
take a notepad, put all the IP addresses that you want, 200, 300, upload it to them. And the network team has to do some stuff on that and set it up. They have this DHCP setup. Okay. They have to, it is basically, changing that network itself. And the companies like Infosys and all that will be worried if you are playing around with their network. Okay, they have to play around with the switches and all that, and you give them the steps as to how to do it. By giving these IP addresses, they will upload, and then they will set it up and give it to you. But you have to do it yourself. Your company has to be very small company, and you might need some network expert to do certain stuff. But again, it is not piece of cake. At the same time, it is not too complex, but you as a non-networking person will look complex those steps. But if it's a networking guy, the steps are very simple.
Okay.
There are if you go to internet, 100 places you can get it. How to set up IP spoofing. I think the information is there on the LoadRunner installation guide. Okay. uh, okay, you see, this is just for enabling and using it, but setting it up, it takes time. Okay, configuring the range-based IP spoofing, you can see this. Okay, so you have to go and then do certain stuff and all that, and you can play around with this IP4 and IPv4, and play around with that, and you have to set it up these things, range and all that. So that requires little bit of networking knowledge. Okay, and usually in a performance testing environment, in the real world, people don't do this. Okay, but they're expecting you to do it, then you would have to this micro focus tool is something that is purchased, which means that you can call them and take their help to do it. Okay, usually they're very helpful. Okay, you can call them and take their help.
Okay.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, so tomorrow we'll meet at the same time. So what is that we have covered so far? We'll quickly go through. So we have covered the network virtualization as well. Tomorrow we'll try to look at these two chapters, monitors and SLA. Okay, and tomorrow's class may be little smaller, and then later on we will explore these topics as well. And along with that, we have still want to explore the admin part as well. Okay, admin, and if possible, I'll show you, if the interest is good and people are coming, I'll show you the Jenkins integration with LRE. Very few people actually know this and do it. So if people are coming and all that, I'm more than happy to do this as well. Okay, so these 4 topics we'll try to cover, but tomorrow just expect only these 2 topics to be covered. Okay, and once these 2 topics are covered, then I'll go back to the admin. Okay, and then I'll cover this one, or probably cover this one and go to the admin. Okay, and the final class I'll take Jenkins. Okay, but again I'll see how much interest is there, people are coming, then probably I'll push myself. And again, one more thing, don't expect the classes to be there every day, guys, because I'm the head of the institute. A lot of stuff happens here, I need to take care of it. Okay, so if there is any on a day suddenly in the last moment something comes up and I have to cancel it, okay, it's not that I'm not interested in taking the classes, it's just that either I'm too tired on a particular day to take up so much of work, or there will something came up and I really have to take care of it. Okay, but yes, I really want to share my knowledge. Take care, guys. Bye bye.